Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little flip through for you today. I'm going to be flipping through the last half of my junk journal for Junk Journal July, which was hosted by Meg Journals. She creates a prompt list to go through, and you can kind of interpret them however you want to. So I thought I would just go through and kind of give you the thought process behind the way that I interpreted these prompts. I know everybody kind of does it differently, which is part of the fun of watching everybody as they're working through Junk Journal July. I do have a video for the first half of this month, which I will link in the description down below in case you want to go back and see that. I'm going to be starting with day 16. The prompt for day 16 was maximalism. And this was kind of a difficult one for me. The first thing that came to my mind was my love for all things Tim Holtz. And so that's what I did for this day, is I just used everything that was Tim Holtz. I have Tim Holtz background paper, I have Tim Holtz transparency, some fabric washi, and then a sticker from his clippings sticker book, which I have one of those on every day this month. I was trying to use those stickers up because they've been in my stash for a while, and that's kind of part of my process for Junk Journal July, and also things that I'm just working on through this year. I'm really trying to use up things that I have in my stash, and so I pulled out these stickers to use along the way. So this was for day 16, maximalism, and I put for good measure is the sticker on here. Day 17 was pause. I had a hard time with this one. This page didn't really come out the way that I had intended, which is fine. I have this background paper that was done from a magazine, and then I have this piece that was a die cut from Tim Holtz, and it kind of faded into the background, and I tried to put some white and just kind of make it pop off, and in the end it's just really not my favorite page, but that's okay. There are some of them in here that are that way, but it was a way for me to be creative every day, which is really the priority for me. So you know, I feel like I met the prompt for that day, and even though it wasn't my favorite, it was okay. So and then I have the sticker down here that just says give me a few moments, so which I thought was kind of funny for the prompt for pause. The next day, day 18, was favorite supply, and this was so hard for me because I have so many favorites. And so I tried to put some things on here that were kind of a good representation of things that I enjoy, but you know, I love pens, and I love paper, and I love all, just, you know, I've been a paper crafter for a long time, so it's really hard for me to say this is my favorite thing, but at the base of it, I guess, you know, pens and paper are where it's at for me, and paint, and you know, it's just so many things. So I started with some paper, and then I have this collage strip from Tim Holtz, and it kind of represents some of the things that I just enjoy. So it's got some vintage things, it's got, you know, some postage and just mixed media kind of situation, and collaging and different things. So I just kind of added a few things that I felt like represented the things that I enjoy, although I wasn't able to say like this is my absolute very favorite supply because I just have too many. So and then my little sticker says the loveliest things. Day 19 is interactive, and so this was an easy one for me because I just created a pocket out of a journaling card. Then I have a little collage on here, and I have some notes on there. I'm just not going to pull that out because those are private, but if you have seen any of my Bible journaling or anything, I love interactive pieces. I love tuck spots and pockets and things that flip out and all those kinds of things. And so that was a fun page for me. So it just was a natural thing to kind of put a pocket on that day for day 19. Day 20 was letter to myself, and so I just have some paper in the background. This is some By the Well for God paper that I had in my stash. I have some hymnal paper back here, and then I had this little envelope with a little card in it. I'll pull it out a little bit. It just says Dear Me on the outside, and then on the inside is the letter to myself. And I'm just gonna keep that private. And then I just am using this ephemera piece from Your Creative Studio, this butterfly, to kind of hold that closed. And then my sticker says She Spoke from Her Heart, because that was letter to me. Day 21, the prompt is contrast. And so the first thing that I thought about when I saw this prompt was black and white. When I'm doing artwork, or when I'm doing like particularly mixed media type stuff in an art journal or whatever, black and white are usually what I go to when I feel like I need some contrast or to bring some interest. And so I will do that a lot, but there's also contrasts of textures and balance and different kinds of things. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of use contrast. So I started out with black and white. This is a Felicity Jane paper, and I have some contrast in texture here. I have some satin ribbon and then some kind of crocheted ribbon here. And then also when you have a contrast between kind of like monochromatic and a little pop of color, that's another way of having contrast. So that was kind of my thought process for this particular day, was really more of a technical interpretation of contrast. And then of course, you know, the balance of, you know, left to right or top to bottom or whatever. So, and then my little sticker down here at the bottom says a charm all its own. This was a super simple day. I just took this black and white paper and I just watercolored that little butterfly, just for some contrast. So that was all I did for that day. It was really super simple, but you know, some days were simple and some days were more complicated. I tried not to make any of it too complicated because it's whenever I have a daily project, I want to make sure that I can actually get it finished. So day 22 was pockets. This was actually a pocket I had created and just had in my stash for another project, and it never got used. This is using some By the Well for God products that were left over from a devotional kit. And so I have this journaling card, also has some personal notes on the back, so I'm not going to pull that out, but I just collaged some pieces on this pattern paper from By the Well. And then I have some pattern paper in the background, or some book text in the background, just to add some interest to the background. And then I have A Place in My Heart is the little sticker that I have down here for pockets. Day 23 was overlap, and so what I have here is a little bit of a snippet roll. If you don't know what a snippet roll is, you kind of take little scraps and bits and pieces of things and you kind of adhere them all together. You can sew them or you can even just glue them, and then you kind of roll it up and then cut out little sections of it to use for focal images, or in this case you could use it for like a belly band or like the edge of a paper. I'm using it to overlap these two pieces of paper, and then all of my little snippet pieces are overlapping, and then I just have it sewn. This is actually part of a snippet roll that I had created a while ago, and I just cut the piece that I needed to fit on here and glued everything down. It was a super simple page, but it felt like it met the prompt for that day. 24, this day was very vintage. So this day I just have a bunch of different things from my A House of Books subscription. So these are some of the most vintage papers and stuff that I could kind of find easily. So what I wanted to do is kind of just create a collage with some of the dates. So I have April 1933, June of 1932. This is February of 1890. This is 1952, and just a few different things on here that were just very vintage, and it was just super simple page, everything collaged on there, but I love all of these things. So super simple that day, but that was okay with me as well. Another super simple day was day 25, which is photograph. This was actually a photograph that I got again in my House of Books subscription. I have a piece of background paper. This photograph is of a little Dutch girl, and so she's like in a tulip field. I have some friends that are from Holland, and so I just loved this whole picture, and I just wanted to include it in there, and it just makes me think of them. And so the little sticker that I chose there says the flowers appear on the earth. And then this background paper from By the Well for God, I just felt like it matched really well with that whole concept. So day 26, the theme was cozy. Again, I have a background paper from By the Well for God because this represents really all of the things that I want when I want to be cozy. So fuzzy socks and books and coffee and all the little things and some music playing. Those are things that just make me feel happy and cozy. And so I just included all of those in a really simple page, but I felt like, again, it just represented everything for me for that particular day. Day 27, another super simple one was postcard. This is a postcard that I got in my A House of Books subscription. Again, this is just a really old and vintage card that I had added some lace across the bottom, just mostly to cover up some stuff that was right here in this corner. I created a vellum pocket. This is a By the Wolf for God paper here in the background. And my sticker for this day says thinking of earlier days. It's just a really vintage postcard that I wanted to include in here. Day 28 is upcycled. So I have some coffee dyed paper here in the background. I have this journaling card. This was actually made as part of a master board where I used some packaging, like just leftover pieces from like By the Wolf for God packaging or whatever. And I just collaged and stuff on there and created that. I also have some book spine here, and then this is actually a bingo card that I used a Tim Holtz die on, and I just included that as part of this little collage for this day. Day 29 was actually a little bit more difficult for me. The prompt was playlist, and so I didn't really know, other than being really literal with this one, kind of how to go. So I just went literally. I added some background paper here. Sorry for my son in the background. He's playing video games. So anyway, I have some music paper in the background, and then I just created a list of the songs that are currently being played by me a lot on kind of on repeat for me. So, and then I have my little sticker that says all too frequently. So that was kind of a really literal interpretation, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to have, like, these are the songs that I'm really into right now. It's kind of documented somewhere. So I thought that was fun. Day 30 is in the garden. So on this day, I just have some background paper that's kind of autumnal, and then I have some greenery. These are just stickers laid over the top, and then this beautiful butterfly. And then my sticker says bidding farewell to the warm, merry day. Right now, I live in Georgia and it is super hot. And so I'm waiting just with bated breath for, for the fall when it cools down just a little bit. And so I just thought, because of how hot it's been here, this was a fun way to kind of interpret for that day. And then day 31 is, the prompt is nostalgia. And when I think of this, it just makes me think of home. And that always just makes me think of my dad. My dad died in 2011. And so this page kind of represents some things about him and just home. So I have some Felicity Jane background paper that has some little houses on it, and then these other things just kind of are things that remind me of my dad. So there's like a hardware bill in the background, and then this little train. My dad retired from the railroad, and so there's he retired from Union Pacific Railroad, and so this says Pacific Company. And then just, he loved photography, and he always carried well, not always, but a lot of my childhood I remember him carrying a pocket watch. So anyway, those are just kind of things that I remember, and so I was just feeling nostalgic about him, and so I just included that for day 31. So anyway, that is everything for my project for Junk Journal July for this year. I had a lot of fun with this. Sometimes it's just fun to work from prompts. It kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone. And again, it's just about being creative every day. That's just something that's really important to me. I'm just happiest when I can do a little bit of art every day. So anyway, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.